service charges and gratuities on Norwegian Cruise Line. That's today's episode of Cruising with Eric! Hello cruisers, it's your friend Eric coming to you once again from my home here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's been a busy month for me. I did 3 cruises in the last month. If you've been following along with the channel, you know what I'm talking about. Go check out those videos and you can listen and watch all about it. Today I want to talk to you about a topic that confuses novice cruisers on Norwegian Cruise Line. People who haven't been on NCL before, they get confused. They think, well, I already paid this. Why am I being charged again? And I'm going to try to explain all of that to you right now. Let's talk about the service charges that are added onto the cruise when you pay for the cruise. And to see what we're talking about, I want you to take a look at what's called your cruise confirmation, which is the documents you get from NCL when you book the cruise. I'm going to show you a close-up of that section of the confirmation for my most recent cruise right here. As you can see, highlighted in yellow, there's what's called the beverage service charge, and that's the gratuities that they add on for the open bar package that you get as part of your free at sea package. Now I know you might be asking, Eric, if it's free, why are they charging me? Well, it's not free at sea as in free, no charge. It's free, the whole you can do what you want when you're on the ship. This goes to the whole freestyle cruising thing of NCL. NCL 20 years ago, they were the first ship to introduce the specialty restaurants, the whole thing of where you don't have to go at a particular restaurant, a particular table, a particular time every night. NCL, they were the pioneers of that. Like I said, it was a little over 20 years ago. So free at sea, and they talk about, oh, this is your free at sea package. And that's your, let's see, you get $50 off shore excursions, 150 minutes of Wi-Fi. You get 1 or 2 specialty meals, depending on what kind of cabin you have, and you get the beverage package. So you can see right here, highlighted in yellow, the beverage package for this most recent cruise was $305.20 for 2 people. And I know that doesn't sound like free, but that's the service charge that they add on when you get the open bar. As you can see, it's $152.60 per person. This was a 7-day cruise, so it works out to about $21.80. As you may know, the beverage package includes drinks that are $15 and under, so in my mind, I feel like, well, I have to get about 1 1/3 drinks a day in order to be getting my money's worth if I'm paying $21.80. But most people, if they have the open bar, they're going to be getting at least 2 drinks a day, you would think. The next line you'll see, highlighted in green, is the dining service charge, and this is the gratuities they add on for the specialty dining that you get as part of the free at sea package. And it's only $8.90 per person, and that's not a whole lot of gratuity really for that meal, but that's what they charge. So it says, as you can see, it's a service charge, but really it's gratuities to go to the bartenders and the people who work in the specialty dining. Now let's talk about the second type of service charge at NCL, and that is the daily service charge that they add on once you're on board. Yes, you can prepay it. I usually do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. It depends on the circumstances of the cruise. But it's something that you don't pay when you pay for the cruise. It gets added on once you get there. If you've ever been in a hotel in New York or Las Vegas, some places in Florida, and I've even heard of some places in like Arizona that do it. You book a hotel in Las Vegas, and let's say the hotel is $250 a night or more. It's probably a lot more now since COVID. But you pay for the room, you get there, and then they add on what they call the resort fee. It's just an add-on, and you're going to hear a lot of people who say, oh, the resort fee is a hidden fee. Why didn't they just add it on? Some people say it's dishonest. They're trying to make the hotel room look cheaper than it is. And I don't necessarily think it's dishonest because it is in the fine print. They do tell you when you book. But I'm of the opinion, instead of charging a resort fee, just tell me what the actual cost of the hotel room is. The daily service charge on NCL is very similar to a resort fee in the fact that it is added onto your bill once you get there. It's not charged ahead of time. And yeah, $20 per day is not a whole lot, but if you're talking about 4 people in your cabin, mom, dad, 2 kids, that's $20 per person per day. That ends up being well over $500 for a 7-day cruise. And if you're not expecting to have a bill for $500 at the end of the cruise, that's kind of an unwelcome and nasty surprise. I can understand why it seems like every cruise there are people lined up at guest services saying, hey, what's this charge I'm seeing? And well, it's the daily service charge. What's the daily service charge for, you might ask? Well, they say it's gratuities that are going towards your cabin steward, the people who work in the laundry, the people who work in the main dining rooms, the people who work here and there. It's just an extra fee. Personally, I think it should be built into the cost of the cruise up front rather than charged when you're on board. To give you an example of it being charged on board, let's take a look at my final invoice for this cruise I just got off of. Now you can see highlighted in yellow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times where they put $20, call it a service charge once per day, onto my bill. The green you see on this page, that's not the specialty dining service charge I showed you on the invoice that I paid ahead of time. This is where I paid extra gratuities, extra tip, when I went actually to the restaurants. I did about $10 each time. It says $40 for Ocean Blue. That's because I paid extra to get the surf and turf, and that's included in the $40 there. It was $40 total. But I usually give $10 or $15 extra in gratuities when I go to the specialty dining restaurant. I can already hear people in the comments saying that you can have the $20 per person per day service charge removed. You go to guest services and they'll remove it. And that's true. I think you're being a little bit of a jerk if you do that, because I think it is taking money away from the crew, and these are the people who are actually working. You're not taking money away from the, you know, the gajillionaires who run the cruise line. You're taking it away from the foot soldiers, if you will. Also, if you go down and ask them to remove it, they're going to ask you, well, what's wrong? They're going to want to know an incident or a problem. They're wanting to know a certain complaint about the service to remove the service charge. And then you're kind of throwing somebody under the bus. I think that you should always pay it. Yes, you can have it removed. Go to guest services and talk to them. Personally, I always pay it. You should hopefully know ahead of time that it's coming so it doesn't surprise you, so you're ready to pay it. Or you pay it ahead of time. When you do your check-in for your cruise, they're going to ask you one last time, do you want to prepay your gratuities? Okay, so we've talked about the service charges that NCL adds on before you pay for the cruise, and the ones they add on once you're on board. Now let's talk about gratuities. Gratuities are extra tips that a passenger gives to crew members if they think they've done a good job. I always budget in some cash for this. This most recent cruise, we had a really good cabin steward. He was always around. He always took care of things, and everything was just fine with the cabin steward. At the end of the cruise, I gave him a $100 bill. Also, if there's a particular bar that I go to frequently on the cruise over and over again, usually the whiskey bar, I'll give those guys some cash towards the end of the cruise. And when I was a solo cruiser and I was participating in the solo meetups, if I thought the solo host did a particularly good job, I might give them some money, maybe 40, 50 bucks. I had a 2-week transatlantic. I gave that guy $100 if I think they've done a good job. Hopefully that makes it clear as mud about the service charges and gratuities. You have 3 things. You have the service charges for your dining plan and your beverage package that they add on when you pay for the cruise. They have the $20 per person per day service charge that they put on board, similar to a resort fee in Las Vegas or Florida. And finally, you have gratuities, which are money that you give to the crew as you see fit. All right, friends, that's all for today. I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please put in the comments, put money, money, money. Put money 3 times, and then I'll know that you watched all the way to the end. It does help the channel very much when you watch the whole video. I appreciate it, and until we meet again, may you have fair winds and following seas. This has been a production of Cruising with Eric. Please like, share, and subscribe.